Hi, I'm Stefany, owner of DMC Travel Tailor, and today I'm here with Jessi Fundora, Key Account Manager of Seabourn. For those of you that don't know Seabourn, Seabourn is an all-inclusive luxury cruise line that cruises all around 7 continents. And what I've noticed is that when a person takes Seabourn, they continue to take them again and again and again. So Jessi, can you tell us what makes Seabourn so special?
Hi, Stephanie, and everyone watching. It's a pleasure to be here with you and to be able to share the Seabourn story and to tell you a little bit about what makes Seabourn different within the ultra luxury market. So, of course, we are now looking forward, and looking forward means that we're now ready to plan our next trip. So, some of the reasons that you'll find that Seabourn is different than the rest, first and foremost, is the intimacy of the ships. So we'll take a look at a slide of the ships in a minute, but we are really one of the smaller lines. We have some of the smaller ships in the industry, and I think that's definitely an advantage, anywhere from 458 guests to 600 guests, maximum capacity. We have a very nice guest to space ratio, which will be very important, particularly now and these days with social distancing. So we're happy to have lots of space on board for our guests. You'll also note that most of our ships have either all veranda or 90% veranda with huge walk-in tubs and tub shower combos. But really what I think sets us apart the most is the fact that we can visit some of the smaller ports and some of the hidden harbors that you just don't have access to with a larger vessel. There's no way that a big ship can get to Amalfi and anchor and have the guests come off in Amalfi or in Capri. They just don't do that on Seabourn. That's exactly what we do.
I love that. I know because people always want to get to those points where, they can't get to. I feel like that makes that moment so much more special. And I love that the smaller ships are able to do that.
Well, in some cases with the large, you need to take a shore excursion in order to get you to some of these smaller ports. Here we are anchoring right off the port and using our tender service to get you right into the heart of the city. So I think that's definitely something that you want to consider on your next trip. We're also all-inclusive on board. So drinks are included, gratuities are included. When I sailed in December, the suite stewardess came up to me as I embarked, and she offered me 5 different soap selections for me to choose one of my voyage. So I just thought that it was just a very unique touch that we were able to offer. Our partnership, we have some fantastic partnerships that we've had for many, many years now, such as Chef Thomas Keller, Dr. Andrew Weil for our spa, Sir Tim Rice that puts together some of our programming in the evening, Adam Tahani, who is actually the designer of the interiors of all of our ships, including the new venture, Brian Van Flandern, mixologist, that helps us put some incredible martinis and drinks on board. And of course, a partnership with UNESCO Heritage that we can talk
I
about.
love that. Who doesn't want to go to a UNESCO World Heritage Site?
That's what it's all about. It's about rediscovering our planet.
Yeah.
So just to share a little bit more of the statistics with our ships, currently we have 5 ships in our fleet, and 3 of them are identical. They're the first 3, the Odyssey, Sojourn, and Quest, with 229 oceanfront suites, and 90% of those are brand. So that's very, very important.
Wow.
Also, equally important is that the deck plan is identical on all 3 ships. So if you've been on the Odyssey, you've been on the Sojourn and on the Quest. So our 2 newest ships, the Encore and the Ovation, are a bit larger with 300 all oceanfront veranda suites.
Amazing.
But the deck plan is also the same on these 2 newer ships, with the exception that we have 1 additional deck because the ship is a bit larger. But again, if you've been on the smaller 3 ships, you basically can work your way around the Encore and the Ovation. Now, if you haven't seen what our suites look like, you're going to be blown away. This is the typical suite.
Nice.
Guests, whether they're in a window suite, the Odyssey, Sojourn, or the Quest, or if they're in veranda suites, it's identical. 300 square feet plus veranda, And you'll also find that we have a fully stocked bar. So the guests can opt their preferred spirits and we'll have it prepared for them and it's replenished during the course of the voyage. So it's a beautiful layout and it's a very comfortable living room and also bedroom area. But really what blows me away is the bathroom.
Wow.
So this is the typical bathroom on all of our ocean view and veranda suites. And as you can see, it's a separate tub and shower, as well as double sinks. And we use here in all of our suites, we're using Molton Brown as our bath amenities. And we've been using Molton Brown for quite some time.
It's a great brand. And you know what I'm noticing is these suites are definitely larger than most.
They are, and I happen to sail in November, and here in your suite, you can request a bath. This suite stewardess will come in and draw the bath for you. So I went on a shore excursion, and I had them prepared when I got back to my suite. There were rose petals there. I was by myself, but it was
You had a
beautiful.
little romantic bath all by yourself. I love it.
I did. Yes, I did. I fell in love with myself again. Uh, but
Hey,
it
it's
was just,
relaxing. I can't blame you.
it was fantastic, and I'm not a small guy, and I was able to fit comfortably in the tub area. So it's really amazing what we've done with our vessels and the way that the layout is. And of course, we do have larger suites available. I just wanted to give you an idea of what our standard suites would look like.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they look great.
So one of the things that also sets us apart from some of the other brands is our partnerships. And we have some incredible partnerships, as you can see here,
Yeah.
from Chef Thomas Keller to Dr. Andrew Weil to Sir Tim Rice, Brian Flanders that we talked about, Molton Brown, UNESCO. We have something for everyone.
Yeah, and I love all these partnerships you have. And for me personally, I have a lot of foodie clients. So can you tell us a little bit more about the partnership with Chef Thomas Keller?
Absolutely. So Chef Thomas Keller, for those of you that are foodies, that need I say more?
Yeah.
You know exactly who he is. He's a American restaurateur, Michelin star. We have the Thomas Keller grill on all 5 of our ships. And the picture that you see here is on the larger Ovation and Encore. So we have, obviously, it's a larger ship, so we have more the Thomas Keller grill. You'll find here at the grill that there is a bar and a piano area. So even if you don't have reservations that night, you can still come down and have a drink at the bar and enjoy the ambiance of the Thomas Keller grill. I should also add, Stefany, that you can reserve this in advance. So once your clients call to make a Seabourn booking and they pay for the deposit, you can actually reserve one of the evenings. So if someone has an anniversary or a birthday, just let reservations know and we'll be able to accommodate them.
Yeah, no, that's great to know because I'm sure it books up really quickly.
It does. So we reservations in Seattle has half the allotment for the Thomas Keller Grill, but if you can't request it in advance, it's not a problem. When you get on board, the ship has the other, and so you'll have an opportunity to have dinner here at the Chef Thomas Keller. Again, when I sailed, we had every 7 days you get one opportunity at the Keller Grill. So I went down there with some guests that I'd met, and it was a fantastic experience. I was on the Soldier. So I also want to add that the Thomas Keller Grill on the Soldier and on the Odyssey is about half the size. So it's much smaller. It has a bar, but the bar is really for the guests that are dining there. It's not so much like the Thomas Keller on the larger vessels, but we had a great experience. They did Caesar salad prepared at tableside. We had thermidor. It was just amazing. So
I can imagine.
French Laundry, or if you've been to the surf club here in Florida and in South Beach,
Yeah.
appreciate his cuisine on board.
Amazing.
So aside from the grill, we have some other options in our ship. So we have the Thomas Keller Grill, we have the main restaurant, and on a 7-day voyage, we'll have one night that's a formal night, and it will only be at the main restaurant, not at the other venues. We have the colonnade, and we also have the patio area, which is by the pool deck, and that serves as nighttime. It turns into Earth and Ocean, so it's an additional restaurant. So
That's cool.
you have lots of venues on board. I mean, that's about choice.
Yeah.
Open seating, open dining, so you're not, you don't have dining times or you have to sit with anyone in particular.
Yeah.
And I also want to say that on the larger ships, we have a sushi restaurant on the Encore and the Ovation, and that is available as well. And there's no advanced reservations here, but you can reserve it when you arrive on board.
Nice. Yeah. No, that's definitely convenient. And there are a lot of options for everybody. So that's great.
Absolutely. So if once you're done enjoying Thomas Keller Grill and you're feeling a little guilty and you want to work out a bit, or you want to have a nice massage, we have a fantastic spa on board our ships. And we have a great partnership with Dr. Andrew Weil. And many of you may know Dr. Andrew Weil. He's been on Oprah, he's been on Dr. Oz, and he has put together our healthy living program on board. So you'll find that we include Pilates, stretching in the morning. We also have mindful living coaches that are available every day. We have meetings, or not meetings, but we have, I'm trying to think of the good word here. We have gatherings daily, basically, with the mindful living coach. So anyone can come down and enjoy that complimentary. And then on the other end, of course, we have the treatment area. So we do have a fantastic spa, facials, massages, you name it. It's available on board with Dr. Andrew Weil.
And I think more than ever, people are really going to find that valuable right now with all that's going on. So that's great.
You have to de-stress yourself.
Yeah.
So here's one that I know that you are particularly interested in, Stefany, and I'm sure your clients, anyone who's into history, can appreciate UNESCO. And we've been the official cruise line partner with UNESCO for many years. Just extended that partnership earlier this year for another 5 years.
Congratulations, that's huge.
Yes. You know, a lot of our guests felt that this was probably one of the more important things that we could do, because UNESCO is not just about history, but it's about giving back, it's about preserving. Yeah. And you'll find that on many of our voyages, we have UNESCO-led tours where you'll have the curator of a museum, or you'll have, for example, in Ephesus, after all the guests leave at nighttime, our guests come and we're served cocktails, and we're also have a band playing or an orchestra playing there in the evening. Lots of behind the scene tours with our UNESCO partners.
And people love that.
Now, when you talk about UNESCO, you also want to know, where do we go? What are the top destinations for our brand? And we're seeing a lot of destinations for next year, particularly these that I like to highlight. First, of course, is the Mediterranean. I mean, you know, how many times, I think most people can go to the Mediterranean every year if they had an opportunity. There's so much to do, so much to see, so much to revisit. We do fantastic itineraries in Italy. We also have some fantastic Greek Isles that are round trip Athens. And Greek Isles, it's not just Mykonos and Santorini. A lot of people fall into the trap where when you think Greek Isles, they're thinking, oh, Mykonos or Santorini. And those are definitely fantastic islands, but there's so many more islands. Paros, Patmos, Sifnos. I mean, you can just, the list is long. And actually, the ones that you don't know are probably the ones that you want to visit, because there's less tourism there.
I do. Sign me up. That's exactly what I would do. It's on my bucket list. And when I go, I've been to Athens, but when I go back, that's exactly what I want to do. I mean, I would love to see Santorini, but I would love to hit those smaller islands because for me, it's all about being in places that aren't so crowded and special gems that you feel like you're discovering.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. You can ask, yes, I've been to the Mediterranean, but the question is, have you been there on a 458 guest ship? And were you able to visit some of these off the beaten path islands and cities that you just can't get to with the larger ships? So we will be in the Mediterranean this summer in 2021. So I encourage you to take a look at those itineraries. Another part of the world that I love is Northern Europe, and these are the Baltic capitals. So Oslo, Copenhagen, you're also talking about the Norwegian fjords, sailing up all the way up to Spitsbergen in some cases, and seeing the polar bears. So we do a fantastic Northern Europe with Greenland and Iceland. So, we really do a good European itinerary depending on where you want to be. And of course, we do also do World Cruise, and I'll just touch briefly on World Cruise. It's not for everyone, but we do have a World Cruise that departs out of Miami in January, and it's 140 days. So it's Miami to Barcelona. So if you have the 140 days, we'd love to welcome you on board. But if you don't, not a problem. You can still say you've been on a world cruise because we have multiple segments as well.
True. That is true.
So you can still say, I've done the world cruise. You just don't have to tell them that you didn't do 140. You've only done 20 or 30 days.
Well, and that's true. And I like that you can also add, if you want to do two segments, at a time, you can do that instead of doing the whole world cruise if you don't, have that time. And you can kind of choose, which segments you want to do, which is nice too.
It's all about options. So I know off the top, we have a Miami to Papeete, Tahiti, Tahiti to Sydney. And you can take, just as you said, it's about choice. So you can take that segment or continue on to Africa or board in Australia. So, it really is about choice on Seabourn. And I also want to add some other that we're seeing a big uptick for next year. And one is the Alaska, British Isles. So many of you have been to Alaska, but if you haven't been for quite some time, it really is a destination that you want to revisit again. And to be able to do it on a smaller vessel, next year we'll be doing it on the Odyssey with about 458 guests. It's a whole different experience than what you'll find on the larger ships. And we're sailing out of Vancouver up to Anchorage, and we'll have a 7-day round trip Vancouver, or we'll have 7, 10, 12, and 14 days in Alaska. And the good thing about Alaska is that although it's technically far, it's still domestic.
Yeah.
So Canada's our neighbor. So a flight to Vancouver and then being able to sail all the way up to Anchorage will just be a special experience. And speaking of Canada, we have a great Canada program as well. And here you can also stay close to home if that's what you choose to do. And we have multiple voyages that are either round trip Montreal or Montreal to Boston. And those begin in August. And the last voyage is in the end of October, and it is Montreal to Miami. Wow. So if anyone has an interest of snowbirds, you want to hop on, it's a great way to end up in Miami. It's a 14-day, and that itinerary is out of Montreal, and it does go to Halifax, Providence. It also does an overnight in New York. It goes to Charleston. So it's a very nice itinerary that I think that if you haven't done it, you definitely want to experience it. Wow. Of course, I have to mention our new vessel that will be debuting next year, and that's Expedition, as you'll see here.
Exciting.
It is. So currently for Antarctica season, we've been using the Quest because we had to refit the hull to be able to sail through light ice. But starting in 2021, we will be debuting the Seabourn Venture. And the Venture will be a ship that will be totally designed for the Arctic region. And the Venture will be a polar class vessel, which means it'll have a strength hull. We'll have a world-class expedition team the entire time. And these itineraries, although the main focus will be the Arctic and Antarctica, in order to get from Arctic to Antarctica, we will be sailing down to the Caribbean, through the Panama Canal, visiting basically all of South America, first heading southbound, doing the itinerary on the west coast of South America, Peru, all the way down to Chile. And then once we finish our season in Antarctica, the ship will then sail up the east coast to Brazil, Argentina, and at some point she'll end up in Iquitos in Peru. So we'll be able to go up the Amazon River with this ship. And it's only 132 suites, 264 guests. So it is half the size of our current vessel. And we'll have 2 built-in submarines for 6 guests. We'll be serving champagne and caviar on this submarine. So make sure that you are prepared for that. And we'll have zodiacs and mountain bikes. So it'll be as active as the guests want it to be.
Which is nice. Yeah, they always have the option of just relaxing or, getting more adventurous if they would like.
And this is what she will look like, the Venture. And again, very different. Lots of dark wood. It is reminiscent of a lodge on the inside. I know that the guests will absolutely love it, considering that it's an all-veranda suite ship. So
yeah, you can't go wrong with that because it's all about seeing those gorgeous views and seeing wildlife. And there's no better way to do that than on a balcony. And Are you guys running any special offers right now?
Well, funny you should say that. As a matter of fact, we are. So, considering the current climate, we held off on any promotions, and as we wanted to make sure that the market was ready. And we did a survey to some of our past guests, and the past guests right around the April time frame said, okay, we're ready to start dreaming and we're ready to start thinking about our next trip for next year. So we did a couple things. First off is we extended our Sensational suite sale until July 31st.
Nice.
Yes, and this is a great offer. So this is some of the offers that you can get depending on the voyage. So on some of them, you have the option of a window suite, and we will complimentary offer you a guarantee and a veranda. If you choose the veranda category, some of those categories will give you up to a 3 category. So if you're in a V1, we'll give you up to a V3. Complimentary upgrades, you have shipboard credits, air credits, internet minutes, deposits, and for the larger premium suites and penthouses, we have a larger shipboard credit and as well as unlimited internet for the suite. And this was something, again, that we extended knowing that it's a very successful program, and we wanted to continue it until July and make sure that the guests can take advantage of it.
That sounds great.
This is the other classic offer that we released about a week ago, and this is 10% early bonus savings. So because we know that the guests are ready to, and we're ready to create incredible vacation experience for them, on pretty much every voyage, if you book and pay in full by the 31st of July, you'll save an additional 10% off of the rate. And when you think 10% off, you're talking a couple hundreds, maybe even a couple $1,000, depending on the category that you select. So I encourage you, if you're ready to book, now is to book and pay for your upcoming Seabourn trip.
Yeah, no, it's a huge savings. It sounds, when you think of 10%, but when you start looking at the bigger picture, and especially if there's multiple people going, it's a huge savings.
Well, and some have looked at this and actually said, well, 10% early pay, I'm not sure. And that's okay, because we have the book with confidence policy extended. So even if you were to pay, yes, even if you were to pay on the 31st and something should come up either personally or the world environment that we live in, you have up to 30 days before the ship cancel and get your monies back. So, your money is secure with us at Seabourn, and we will obviously never put the ship in harm's way. So, a world event that we have to cancel or we have to shift itineraries, we will do that in order to make sure that our guests and our crew are safe. But this book with confidence is automatic with every booking, so you don't have to worry about anything when you're depositing and putting your monies down with us.
Which I'm sure clients will love. And here's a big question for you. When will you be sailing again?
Oh, that is the crystal ball question. So, we earlier this last month, we paused our ships until October, November timeframe because of the world situation. So technically we're anticipating to sail again in the winter. But a lot of things have to come into play. First off, we have to, CDC here in the US, we have to determine what recommendations will be for boarding, on board. And once we get past our government, and then we have to deal with the world, because if you think about it, if you have a guest embarking in Italy and the trip is going to France, Spain, and Portugal, each one of these countries are going to have certain restrictions that they are going to have to adhere by. So I think right now we're not prepared. The world is not prepared for cruising just yet. But I guarantee that once we have the information, correct information, because we can say something now, we're mass, but as you know, this is very evolving, and we want to base it on science and facts instead of just arbitrarily saying, this is what we're going to require, and then have to come back and revamp it and say, no, actually, this is what's going to be required. So we're hoping that we can set sail again in December.
That would be great. And you know what? There's no harm in us travel dreaming right now. That's what this is all about. So, hey, I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me and for everybody watching about Seabourn. And I know there are antsy clients that just can't wait to get back on a cruise. So we will look forward to those happier days.
Absolutely, Stefany. Thank you for the time. And we encourage all of you to come sail with us when the time is right. We'll be here waiting for you.
That sounds lovely. Bye, Jessi. Thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye.